I got into the car, and my nephew suddenly clamped his hand over my mouth. They're watching us and hearing everything. I froze. And in that moment the terrifying truth came out. Subscribe to the channel and share your stories in the comments. And now let's get started. The lamp over the parking lot sputters like a dying heart. One lazy blink of yellow, another of shadow. It throws the archive's red brick walls into jagged relief, as though someone were chiseling darkness into the mortar itself. The night carries the smell of wet asphalt, of dust that has settled into the pores of concrete, of cigarettes long stubbed out but still breathing their bitterness into the air. My sedan sits beneath that lamp like a forgotten thing. The windshield gray with pollen and dirt, the paint dulled by years of rain and neglect. My keys are cold in my palm, heavier than they should be. I tell myself it's late, that no one is watching, that I'll be home in minutes. I tell myself 1,000 tiny safe lies because the other truths are louder. The metal handle of the car door resists for a second before yielding. I open it, lean inside, and that's when it happens. Something clamps down over my mouth. My body jerks back instinctively, a muffled cry tearing in my throat. But the hand is small, too small. And the eyes staring up at me from the shadowed back seat are wide, wild, and unmistakably familiar. Noah. My 10-year-old nephew is curled up like a hunted animal, knees tucked to his chest, back pressed against the worn fabric of the seat. His eyes shine in the half-light, not with tears but with something worse, knowledge. The kind of knowledge children are not supposed to carry. His hand, though small, is firm, trembling only slightly as it presses against my lips. His breath smells faintly of cocoa, his hair of shampoo that still carries the innocence of bedtime. But his voice is not a child's. Shua, he whispers, the syllable feather-light yet ironclad. They're listening. I freeze. Half in, half out of the car, the door yawning open to the night, my heart pounding like a drum too close to breaking. My mind scrambles for sense. Listening? Who? My fingers clutch the steering wheel though the engine is still silent. I whisper back, lips brushing his palm. Who's listening? His eyes dart to the second-floor windows of the office building across the alley. The glass panes reflect nothing but the trembling light of the lamp. Yet in his gaze I see conviction. From the office, he breathes. They see everything. They hear too. Inside me everything drops. I see the day spool backward in harsh staccato flashes. Amber's sweet, patient voice this morning. The way she pressed a packet of papers into my hand as though they were a gift wrapped in ribbons. Just a simple power of attorney, she said, her smile soft enough to disguise the sharpness of her words. Beside her stood Paige, my longtime assistant, a woman I once trusted like a younger sister, nodding along with rehearsed gravity. And Arthur Cole, our family lawyer, avoided my eyes entirely, his silence speaking louder than any counsel he might have offered. The papers sat on the kitchen table all day, innocent in their appearance yet heavy in their implication. I had not signed. I had not dared. But I had told myself maybe tomorrow, maybe after Daniel, my son Amber's husband, looked them over. And now here is Noah trembling, warning me with the urgency of someone who has overheard the kind of conversation that children should never hear. His hand presses harder against my mouth, as though he fears even my breath might betray us. Mom said in a few days you'll have nothing left if you sign. He whispers, each word landing like a stone in water, sinking deep into me. My throat goes dry. Amber said that? He nods, the movement quick, scared, absolute. She said you'd leave the house on your own. She said you wouldn't even fight. She called you gullible. She said once you sign it's finished. The word gullible stabs me in a place I didn't know was vulnerable. I am a woman who built her life on vigilance. Reading contracts, saving receipts, carrying ledgers in her head when others forgot their bills. Yet to Amber, I am nothing but a fool waiting to be guided by the nose. My hands shake on the steering wheel. Noah leans closer, his eyes glowing with that unnatural maturity children develop when they are forced to become witnesses. They think you won't read. They think you'll just trust her. They laughed, said you always do what's asked. They said afterward you'd be gone like you were never here. Gone. Erased. Decades of work, of sacrifice, of nights spent hunched over balance sheets while Daniel slept safe in the next room. All of it could vanish with a stroke of my pen. I remember Amber's syrupy voice at breakfast. It's just a formality, really. Think of it as helping Daniel manage things if you ever get too tired. She had reached across the table to squeeze my hand, and I had felt the icy precision of her fingers beneath the warmth. Paige had sat beside her, silent but present, her nods mechanical, her pen tapping rhythmically on her notebook. And Cole, Arthur Cole, had muttered something vague about streamlining. But I see it now. The smiles were we*P***. The silence was complicity. The formality was a noose. Noah's hand slips from my mouth, and I press my palm to his head, feeling the fragility of his small skull beneath my fingers. The protective instinct roars awake in me like a beast long starved. I whisper, "You did the right thing." But he shakes his head. "They'll know I told you. Don't tell Daniel. Mom says he'll always take her side. She says if you try to fight she'll make sure she said a child could die." I stiffen. "What child?" "Miss Nolan's." His voice breaks on the word. "She said Paige has to help or her little girl will get hurt. She said accidents happen all the time." The world lurches. For a second I can't hear anything but the echo of Amber's words refracted through Noah's frightened memory. Threats against a child. That's the currency she uses now. I want to scream. To storm back into that office, into that house, into that world where Amber sits smiling with her rehearsed sweetness, and tear the mask from her face. But Noah's grip on my sleeve is iron anchoring me. "Don't make a sound," he whispers. "Don't let them know." I force myself still. My body trembles but my voice when it comes is low steady, a razor pressed flat against skin. "Then we don't give them what they want." Noah nods, eyes wide, relief mixing with terror. "Promise me. Don't sign." "Promise." I have made promises all my life. To banks, to suppliers, to neighbors, to Daniel. Promises to be reliable, to be generous, to be available at all hours. Promises that hollowed me out while others thrived. But this promise is different. This one carries blood in its ink. "I promise," I tell him. The words taste final. I slide into the driver's seat, start the engine. The hum fills the silence, masking the sound of my heartbeat. The headlights cut through the mist, pale blades carving a path forward. As we pull out of the lot, I glance once more at the office windows. They stare back blank, lifeless. Yet I feel eyes there watching, waiting. Noah curls against the seat, small and serious. His spoon from earlier clinks faintly in his pocket, the rhythm of a child clinging to something ordinary. I grip the wheel tighter. If Amber thinks me gullible, let her. If Paige thinks silence will save her, let her. If Cole believes avoidance will absolve him, let him rot in that illusion. I will not sign. And in that decision I feel the first spark of war. The streets of Milwaukee at night are a labyrinth. Not the kind drawn neatly on maps, but one alive with shifting shadows and half-seen headlights, each turn another roll of the dice. I drive with the headlights low, the hum of the engine steady, Noah pressed against the seat as though shrinking might make him invisible. He doesn't speak, only watches the mirrors as if he expects shapes to emerge from the darkness. Perhaps I do too. We cut through alleys where rainwater pools like ink. I turn again, then again, threading a route only half-conscious, guided more by instinct than by memory. We cannot go home. Home is watched. Home is compromised. Where are we going? Noah whispers finally. Somewhere they don't expect. I say, though the words sound hollow even to me. Somewhere I can think. Somewhere I can listen without being listened to. The neon sign of Harbor 27 rises out of the industrial fog like a faded beacon. The diner sits at the edge of town, where the warehouses crouch and the lake wind carries the smell of iron and old fish. Its windows glow a dull amber, its parking lot cracked, its sign flickering between Harbor 27 and Arbor 27. For years it has been a place where dockworkers nurse coffee at dawn, where lost travelers found a booth and cheap warmth. Tonight it is a sanctuary. Inside, the diner smells of burnt toast and bacon grease that has seeped into the walls. A waitress in a faded blue apron doesn't even blink at me or the boy at my side. That too is a comfort. We slide into a corner booth, the vinyl cracked, the table sticky with sugar rings. Noah orders cocoa. He holds the spoon in both hands, tapping the rim of the mug in a quiet, nervous rhythm. I watch his face as he repeats in fragments what he overheard. "They think you're gullible. They said you'll sign without reading. After you'll leave the house, you'll have nothing left." Each phrase is a blade. Each repetition makes the cut deeper. My stomach tightens with a nausea that has nothing to do with food. I lean forward. Noah, did Amber say those words? He nods, the motion small, absolute. His cocoa sloshes, a brown tide threatening the rim. She said it like she was sure. Like it was already done. Already done. The words hang over me like a verdict. The bell over the diner door jingles, and for a moment I tense, expecting Amber's silhouette or Cole's smooth frame or Paige's haunted eyes. Instead, the man who enters is broader, heavier in his step, the kind of presence that absorbs a room without trying. Marcus Reed. Even from across the diner, I feel the steadiness he carries like a shield. Once head of security at Whitaker Holdings, now a man who trades in quieter work, he was the kind of ally you don't need often but never forget. His gaze sweeps the diner before it lands on me. For the briefest second, he raises his chin. A silent question. I nod. He crosses to us. Noah straightens in his seat, relief flickering in his face. He can be trusted, he whispers as though reciting a prayer. Marcus slides into the booth opposite me. His voice is calm, level. The same voice that once defused fights in shareholder meetings without raising a hand. What's wrong? I don't waste time. Amber. Cole. Paige. They're pressing me to sign power of attorney. Noah heard them say once I do, I'll lose everything. He heard them threaten Paige's child. Marcus listens without interrupting, his face carved in stone. Only when Noah finishes do his hands tighten, the knuckles whitening against the formica table. He doesn't curse, doesn't raise his voice. He simply says, "You can't go back there." The waitress brings coffee for him, another cocoa for Noah. He stirs it slowly, eyes narrowing. "I'll drive you somewhere safe." We leave together. The night air feels sharper now, the lake wind carrying a chill that sneaks beneath my coat. Marcus drives, his hand steady on the wheel, eyes flicking to the mirrors every few seconds. I sit in the back with Noah, who presses against me as though proximity can shield him. It doesn't take long before Marcus mutters, "We're being tailed." I lean forward. "Where?" Dark van. 2 cars back. No plates I can see. They don't push, they just shadow. Professional. I glance through the rear window. In the haze of streetlights I catch the bulk of the van, its headlights a little too steady, its pace a little too controlled. My chest tightens. They're watching us already. Marcus changes lanes abruptly, then cuts across 2 blocks. The van follows. When we near my neighborhood, Marcus slows at the corner. A dark sedan sits half hidden in the shadows, engine idling. Its headlights off but the glow of the dash unmistakable. My skin prickles. "They're watching the house," Marcus says. "If you go in, they'll know everything. Maybe worse." Noah's small voice cuts the air. "We can't go home." I put a hand on his shoulder. "You're right. We won't." We drive instead to Helen Park's apartment. Helen, my college friend, my confidant in another lifetime before motherhood and business devoured all the oxygen, still answers the door in her nightgown, hair tied back, eyes heavy with sleep but sharp with curiosity. She takes us in without question, without judgment. That's what friendship forged in youth is. Unquestioning, even decades later. Noah curls on her couch with a blanket, asleep within minutes, exhaustion claiming him at last. Marcus stays by the window, watchful, every inch the sentinel. Helen pours me tea, sits across from me, and waits. I tell her. All of it. Amber's syrupy smile, the power of attorney, Paige's silent nods, Cole's evasions, Noah's whispers. Each detail feels heavier as I speak it, but lighter once it's out of me. Helen doesn't interrupt, doesn't doubt. She only shakes her head slowly, murmuring, "You've given them everything and now they want the rest." I can't sleep that night. I lie awake on Helen's couch, staring at the ceiling fan as it turns shadows in lazy circles. Noah shifts occasionally, his breathing soft, his small face clenched even in dreams. In the dark, the images loop. Paige's blue notebook, the words "power of attorney," urgent scrawled in the margin. Cole's eyes fixed on his shoes. Amber's voice, sweet as honey poured over poison. "It's just for the family. The family. Always the family." As though those 2 words are enough to excuse theft, betrayal, manipulation. As though invoking them erases the violence of what is being done to me. But I know better now. The snare is woven tight. Papers, emotions, surveillance. They have stacked the board with pieces they think I won't recognize. They think I'll walk blindly into it, sign away my life, and hand them the keys to everything I have built. I sit up in the dark, the blanket falling away, resolve threading itself through my bones. I will not sign. And if they want war, then war is what they will have. At dawn I return to the house. The sky is washed in gray Milwaukee, wrapped in the kind of fog that seems to press against windows, as if trying to hear what is being said inside. My steps up the porch feel heavier than they should, like the wood has thickened in the night. The key turns in the lock too smoothly. Someone has oiled it. A courtesy? Or a preparation for silence, for entries made when no one should hear? Amber is already waiting in the hallway. She carries a tray with a glass of orange juice, toast, and her flawless concern, the kind that has no crack in it, no seam. Her hair is pinned back, her blouse soft cream, as though she's been plucked from an advertisement for domestic grace. She smiles wide enough to reveal the gleam of teeth. "You're home," she says warmly, her voice as smooth as a hymn. "You must be exhausted. Sit, eat something." I was worried. I study her. The concern is so polished it shines, but her eyes, oh, her eyes betray her. Behind the blue there is calculation. The sharpness of a woman who has already written the end of the story, and is now only waiting for me to play my role. Paige is at her side, clutching a blue notebook to her chest. Her face is drawn, her mouth pinched as though she has been biting back words all night. The notebook has scribbles across the margin, half hidden but visible in the light slanting through the blinds. Power of attorney, urgent. The ink bites into the page with the desperation of someone forced to write what they cannot say aloud. "Eat," Amber insists, her tone wrapping around me like silk. I take the tray but do not sit. The toast smells faintly of cinnamon. The orange juice has pulp floating in it like stray dust. I carry it to the table, place it down untouched, and say softly, "Later." Her smile never falters, though something in her jaw tenses, then relaxes. She is used to patience. She believes patience will wear me down. At lunch she serves stew, rich, spiced, coriander layered so carefully that at first it feels like a gift. But beneath the steam, beneath the aromatic sweetness, I catch it. A faint, chalky undertone like powdered sleep. My stomach twists. I praise the cooking, lift the spoon halfway, then lower it again, feigning fatigue. "It's delicious, Amber. I'll finish later." She tilts her head, masking irritation beneath a sigh of sympathy. "Of course. You need rest." I rise, walk upstairs slowly, forcing my body not to tremble, forcing my back not to betray suspicion. In my room I lock the door and let the mask fall. My hands shake as I press them against the windowsill. The stew scent still lingers on my skin, cloying, poisonous. I hear the faint scrape of glass. Noah's small face appears at the window, his fingers gripping the frame as he climbs in with the agile silence of a boy who has been sneaking for years. His eyes are wide, feverish. "I saw her," he whispers, breathless. "I saw Mom pour powder from a folded paper into the pot. She thought I was outside playing, but I was watching from the porch." The words fall into me like stones. Each one a weight. Each one another nail in the coffin of any doubt. "She said it was just spice." Noah continues, his voice trembling. "But it wasn't. I know it wasn't." I kneel, clutching his shoulders, forcing him to meet my eyes. "You cannot tell anyone else. Do you understand me? Not Daniel, not Paige. No one. Only me." He nods, his lips pressed tight. I pull out my phone and call Marcus. My voice is clipped, stripped of everything but urgency. "Check the street. Tell me what you see." Minutes later his reply comes. "The black sedan came back last night. Lights off. 2 men inside. They're waiting." The trap tightens. I draw the curtains. Noah curls beside me on the bed, his body small but tense like a coiled spring. I stroke his hair, but my eyes remain fixed on the shadows outside. Later, when the house is quiet, I wander downstairs. The floor creaks beneath my feet, though I place them carefully. Through the kitchen window I see Paige. She stands on the patio, her back to me, a phone pressed to her ear. Her shoulders shake with silent sobs. "I can't," she whispers into the phone. Her voice trembles like paper. "If I don't do it, the child will die." My breath stills. She listens, nods, cries harder. I'm trying. Please. Don't hurt her. Her words slice through me. Whatever hold Amber has over Paige is sharper than fear. It is maternal terror. Yet instinct tells me, believe proof, not words. Proof is what will save me. Words will only bury me. The next morning I follow Paige. She leaves early, clutching her notebook, her steps hurried but aimless. I keep a distance, my coat collar turned up, my hat low. She heads to St. Vincent's Children's Clinic, the place Amber mentioned in whispers. I wait until she enters, then slip inside minutes later. The clinic smells of antiseptic and old linoleum. I walk the corridors like a ghost, passing mothers with feverish infants, fathers clutching toddlers. Paige disappears into an office. I wait. When she leaves, I slip into the records room. The clerk is gone. Cabinets hum faintly with the weight of paper. I search until I find the file. Nolan Sophia. My hands tremble as I open it. What I find is not the weight of years of medical struggle. Not a history of surgeries, diagnoses, treatments. No. Instead, a file opened only weeks ago. Pages sparse. Stamps smeared. Signatures shaky and inconsistent. One page lists cardiac arrhythmia, in handwriting so crude it might have been copied from a textbook. Another, stamped with urgency, is dated yesterday but already curling at the edges, the ink fresh. This is no record of a dying child. This is forgery. A text arrives on my phone as I leave the clinic. The screen glows with venom. Sign or a child dies on the table. No pretense now. No veil of kindness. The threat is naked, blunt, vile. I stand outside the clinic, the morning light too bright, my breath sharp in my chest. For a moment the city seems to tilt. The buildings bending under the weight of corruption. People pass me. Nurses, mothers, children. None of them knowing that within my hands lies a war. I close the file, slip it beneath my coat, and whisper to myself the only truth that matters. They are poisoning me. They are forging children's lives. They are circling like vultures. And I will not let them win. The puzzle sharpens like broken glass. I lay the forged clinic records across my desk, thin papers pretending to carry the weight of life and death. The ink is too fresh, the stamps too blurred, the signatures too clumsy. They smell of desperation, not medicine. Whoever assembled them wanted me to believe a child's life hung on my pen stroke. But the more I stare, the clearer it becomes. Paige is being strangled with illusions. Amber has laced her chain with the specter of a sick child, forged into existence to bind us both. I leave the papers tucked beneath the floorboard of my study and step outside. Amber is already waiting on the porch. She leans against the railing as though she belongs there, as though the house is hers already. Her hair gleams, her blouse crisp, her smile effortless. She greets me with a voice dipped in honey. "Daniel's busy," she says softly. "Don't disturb him. He needs rest, and the business is demanding enough without distractions." Distractions. That's what she calls me now. Not mother-in-law. Not partner in the house Daniel grew up in. A distraction. Something to be managed. Before I can answer, Noah darts from the side yard, breathless. His hand clutches a crumpled photocopy, edges torn, ink smudged but legible. He presses it into my palm, his voice shaking. "I found this in the trash." I smooth it out. My stomach turns cold. It is a transfer of assets, my assets already filled in. Properties, accounts, even the bakery I once built from sweat and sleepless nights. My signature line is blank, but a date has been set. Days away. Amber's gaze flickers, sharp as a knife. She doesn't reach for the paper. She doesn't need to. Her stillness is worse than any outburst could be. "Children shouldn't play with garbage," she says sweetly, then turns and glides back inside, her heels a metronome of control. That night, Paige hovers outside my door. Her silhouette trembles in the hall light, her hand raised as if to knock. But before she can, Amber's voice slices the air. "Paige!" The command drags her away like a leash. The sound of retreating footsteps echoes down the hall. I sit in the dark, the unsigned paper spread before me. My pulse hammers. A message buzzes on my phone. The screen glows. "Sign or lose the child." The words burn. I glance at Noah, curled beneath a blanket at the foot of my bed. His breathing is soft, but even in sleep, his brow furrows. He is a pawn in their game, but also my compass, my anchor. To protect him, I must keep the game from reaching checkmate. I dial Daniel's number. He answers after several rings, his voice weary, distracted, distant. Mom? Can't this wait? I force the words out. Amber is pressing me. Papers. Transfers. Forged files about Paige's daughter. There's silence on the line. Then a sigh. Mom, please. Trust Amber. She's doing what's best for me, for the family. Stop fighting her. Sign whatever she needs and let's move forward. This is exhausting. Exhausting. I bite back rage. Years of carrying him through childhood illnesses, tuition, heartbreak. Years of working double shifts to keep his future intact. Exhausting. My loyalty reduced to a burden in his voice. I hang up. My hands shake but my spine stiffens. If Daniel is blind, then I must see for both of us. That night I lie awake, eyes tracing cracks in the ceiling, counting the years of work that built this house, this business, this life. Each memory is another brick. Each betrayal another crack. The ceiling above feels like it might collapse. Morning brings no peace, only resolve. I will not sign. But resolve without proof is useless. I need more than suspicion. I need the evidence that will snap Amber's chain, that will cut through the theater of forged illness and hollow threats. Paige is the key. Her silence, her trembling, the whispered phone call. I know she is trapped. But trapped people leave traces. And Amber, for all her confidence, cannot control every word, every gesture. Somewhere there is a fracture. Somewhere there is proof. At sunrise I step into the garden. The air is sharp with dew. The roses heavy with water. I pause near the hedge and hear voices, soft but urgent. Paige's voice trembling. Give me a week. Please. I'll get the money. Just don't. Amber's reply smooth, practiced. Don't worry. It's almost over. Just a couple of signatures, it's nothing. Her arm curls around Paige's shoulders, guiding her like a mother might guide a child. But the touch is ownership, not comfort. When they re-enter the kitchen, Paige sets a mug of hot milk before me. I smile, thank her, lift it to my lips and then pause. Beneath the warmth I smell it again. The faint, unmistakable bitterness of sedative. I pretend to sip, then excuse myself. Upstairs, I pour the milk into a planter. The soil swallows it silently. Moments later, Paige rushes past, her face pale, eyes wet. She whispers as she passes me, so low I almost miss it. I'm sorry. Then she is gone. That night, Noah slips into my room again. His voice trembles with urgency. Miss Nolan told me, she said her daughter's dying. I sit on the edge of the bed, my hands steepled, my heart cold. If Paige believes her child is dying, she will do anything Amber asks. If Amber forged the illness, she owns Paige's soul. And if she owns Paige, she owns access to me. I call Marcus. My voice is steel now. Set up surveillance. Cameras, microphones. Quietly. I want everything recorded. He doesn't hesitate. Understood. I call Helen next. Stay ready, I tell her. If anything happens, I need you to take Noah. She doesn't ask questions. She has always known when not to. I sit in the silence of my room long after the house has gone still. The moonlight falls across the unsigned papers on my desk, casting shadows like bars. Inside me it all narrows to a single point. Prove the forgery. Break the leverage of a child's life. Cut Amber's we *p*n in half. This is no longer about shares or houses or money. It is about identity. About survival. About who we are allowed to be when the people closest to us try to turn us into nothing. I whisper into the dark, not to Noah, not to Paige, not even to Daniel, but to myself. I will not be erased. At sunrise, the garden is wet with dew. The roses bend beneath droplets like bowed heads. I step quietly onto the porch, not intending to overhear, but the voices float through the damp morning air. Paige is standing near the hedge, her hands twisting around one another, her voice brittle with desperation. Please, she whispers. Give me a week. I'll get the money. Don't rush me. I just need. Amber interrupts with practiced smoothness. A week? Paige, you've had months. Don't you understand? This isn't about waiting. It's about finishing. Her tone is coaxing, tender even, but the words are chains. Then she softens further, lowering her voice as though soothing a frightened child. Just a couple of signatures, Paige. That's all. It's nothing. Her arm slides around Paige's shoulders, pulling her close. From a distance, they look like two women sharing comfort. But I see the truth. The embrace is possession, the voice command cloaked in sympathy. Paige bows her head, trapped. I slip back inside before they notice me. By the time they enter the kitchen, Amber's smile is restored, radiant as always. Paige sets a steaming mug in front of me. Hot milk, she murmurs. I lift it, inhale, and feel the familiar tightening in my gut. Beneath the creamy warmth, there it is again, the faint medicinal bitterness of sedative. They are relentless, hoping repetition will wear me down. That one careless sip will dull my vigilance. I raise the mug to my lips, let it hover there, then smile faintly. Thank you, Paige. Just what I needed. She nods, eyes downcast, and leaves quickly. I carry the mug upstairs, pour the contents into a planter, and watch the soil absorb the treachery. When Paige passes me in the hallway minutes later, her eyes are rimmed with red. She whispers, barely audible, "I'm sorry." Then she rushes away. Her apology burns. Sorry for what? For the milk? For the silence? Or for the betrayal she's forced to carry? That night, Noah slips into my room again. His footsteps are soft, his face pale, his eyes too old for 10. He climbs onto the bed, leans close and whispers, "Miss Nolan told me her daughter's dying." The words pierce me. So that's the hook Amber has lodged in Paige's throat. A dying child. A mother's fear we *p*nized. I take Noah's small hands in mine. Did she tell you herself? He nods. She said she can't say no to Mom because if she does, her daughter will. He trails off, unable to finish. I stroke his hair, but my mind races. Paige believes her daughter's life depends on her obedience. But the files I saw at the clinic tell a different story. A fabrication. If I can prove that, Amber loses her grip. I pick up the phone. My voice is steel when Marcus answers. It's time. I need surveillance in the house. Cameras. Microphones. Quiet, discreet. I want everything recorded. He doesn't hesitate. I'll start tonight. Next, I call Helen. Her voice is groggy with sleep, but she listens without interruption. If anything happens, I tell her. If Amber tries to move against me directly, I need you ready. You'll take Noah. Her answer is immediate, firm. You don't have to ask. By midnight, the house hums with hidden eyes. Marcus works silently, his broad frame moving like shadow. Small cameras nestle in corners, microphones slip behind picture frames. Every smile, every whisper, every poisoned offering will now leave a record. When he finishes, he straightens and says simply, "You'll have proof soon." I nod, though the weight of what's coming crushes my chest. Hours later, I lie awake in the darkness. Noah sleeps at the foot of my bed, his breathing shallow. From downstairs, I hear Amber's laugh, soft, musical, calculated. A laugh meant to disarm, to lull, to convince anyone listening that nothing here is wrong. But cracks are forming. Paige's tears, her whispered apology, her begging in the garden. They are fissures in Amber's perfect mask. And once a mask cracks, the truth beneath cannot stay hidden forever. I rise, cross the room, and stare at myself in the mirror. My face looks older than it did last week, shadows etched beneath my eyes. But there is something new too, clarity. This isn't just about stock or property. It isn't just about money. It is about identity. About refusing to let someone rewrite the ledger of my life in their handwriting. I press a hand against the mirror, feeling the cool glass beneath my palm, and whisper, "They want to erase me. They want me to vanish by my own hand. But I will not sign. I will not give them that power." Downstairs, a floorboard creaks. I freeze, listening. A door closes softly. Paige, perhaps. Or Amber, moving through the house like a warden making her rounds. I return to bed but do not sleep. My mind narrows to a single sharp point. Prove the forgery, expose the manipulation, cut Amber's *p*n in half. For Noah. For myself. For the life they think they can steal. When dawn comes again, I will be ready. The morning is a blade, sharp and cold. I wake before the rest of the house, listening to its silence. Amber's footsteps are absent, Paige's soft weeping muffled somewhere down the hall. Daniel's bedroom door shut like a vault. Noah stirs on the couch in my room but does not wake. I rise quietly, dress in plain gray, and slip out before the house can notice. My destination is St. Vincent's again. Not the polished front desk or the smiling clerks trained to soothe with practiced lies, but deeper, toward the archives where records are kept. Marcus drives, silent, his eyes on the mirrors. When we arrive, I see her waiting, Clara. She was once a nurse, retired now, but a friend of my mother's from years ago. She knows my face, my history, my family's tangled tree. She greets me with a firm handclasp, her gray hair pulled into a bun, her eyes sharp despite the years. "You asked about Paige's daughter," she says without preamble. "I thought it was strange. I checked. Come with me." She leads us into the records office, where stacks of folders rise like tired monuments. The clerk is absent, and Clara moves with the confidence of someone who once belonged here. She pulls a file from the shelf and hands it to me. "Sophia Nolan," the cover reads. I open it, my breath shallow. Inside, thin sheets, uneven signatures, stamps blurred to near illegibility. Clara lays a finger on one. "See this seal? Wrong year. The ink is different. Whoever did this had no idea how hospital stamps really look. And here, look at the doctor's name. He retired 2 years ago. But here his signature appears freshly written." She pulls another page. This one says, "Cardiology consultation." But Sophia never came here before this year. No record of surgery, no prescriptions, no referrals. It's fabricated. Her voice lowers. Someone tampered from outside. These files were planted to build a story, not to record one. I stare at the pages, fury and relief colliding inside me. Proof. Alas, something concrete. Not just whispers, not just Noah's trembling fear or Paige's muffled apologies. Paper. Evidence. Clara presses copies into my hands. "Take them. But be careful. If someone forged this, they'll know soon that you've seen it." I nod, my throat tight. "Thank you." She grips my wrist, her gaze piercing. "You're fighting something bigger than family squabbles. Don't underestimate it." As I leave the hospital, the lobby feels like a stage. Mothers cradle infants, children cling to parents, nurses push carts. Life moving on. And yet I feel eyes on me. In the corner, a man sits with a newspaper. His coat is dark, his hat pulled low. The paper is open, but his eyes flicker above it, tracking me. Marcus notices too. He drifts toward the man, his broad frame an anchor. Without a word, he sits beside him, his gaze fixed forward. The silence is heavy, electric. Then the man bolts. He drops the newspaper, slips through the crowd, and disappears into the street. Marcus returns, expression grim. "He was watching. Maybe following you. They're not just using lawyers and papers. They're using people." On the drive back, I sit in the back seat, Noah beside me. I take his hand and squeeze it gently. His small fingers clutch mine with a desperation that breaks me. "Most likely," I tell him softly, "Paige's child isn't sick. The illness is fake. Forged. Meant to control her." He looks up at me, eyes wide, searching. "So her daughter's okay?" I hesitate. "Yes," I whisper. "She's okay." The truth is more complicated, but for now he needs hope more than nuance. At home, Amber greets us at the door. Her face is a mask of light, her voice rich with practiced sweetness. "How was your morning?" "I made soup." Her words drip honey, but beneath them lies steel. "We must take care of health," she adds. "Health for family, for business. Nothing matters more." I study her, noting the gleam in her eyes. She knows something shifted today. Maybe she saw Paige hesitate. Maybe she sensed my absence. She circles me like a predator who suspects her prey has found a wee *p*n. That night I prepare. I spread Clara's papers across my desk, smoothing the creases. I tuck Marcus's recordings into a folder, the ones from the cameras hidden in the house. The pin camera he gave me rests in my pocket, its weight reassuring. Beside these, I set a list of shareholders, names I have worked with for years, people who know my face, my voice, my history. People Amber cannot charm as easily as she charmed Daniel. I choose my clothing carefully. A gray dress, simple, unadorned, its lines clean. Not mourning, not surrender. Calm. Neutral. Armor. The board meeting is days away. That room will be a battlefield. And I will walk in armed not with G***s or knives, but with proof. As I fold the papers back into their envelope, I hear Noah stir. He sits up, hair tousled, blinking sleepily. What are you doing? Preparing, I say simply. For what? For truth, I answer. And for war. The boardroom has always felt like theater. The long table polished until it gleams, the chairs aligned in military precision, the walls lined with abstract art meant to suggest innovation without committing to beauty. Tonight, however, it feels like an execution chamber. I arrive in my gray dress, papers tucked into my bag like we *P***NS. Marcus walks with me, silent, steady, a shadow at my shoulder. Noah is left with Helen in the lobby, out of sight but close enough for me to feel his presence like a heartbeat. Inside, the air is thick with expectation. The shareholders sit in their usual places, murmuring in low voices. Their eyes flick between the folders in front of them and the door where I stand. Some look curious, others already weary, as though they've been primed to see me as obstruction, as burden. At the head of the table sits Arthur Cole. His suit is immaculate, his glasses catching the overhead lights. He rises briefly, gestures to a chair. Please sit. We have much to cover. Beside him is Paige. Her notebook is closed, her hands clenched atop it, knuckles pale. She avoids my gaze, her face drawn, her body trembling with a restraint that looks near breaking. And then Amber. She is radiant, every detail precise. Her dress a deep blue that flatters her figure, her jewelry understated but costly, her smile poised. She looks like victory personified, as though the outcome of this meeting is already written. Daniel approved, she says softly, her voice smooth as cream. She doesn't even rise. She simply lets the words drop into the air like coins into a fountain. He trusts me to manage what needs to be managed. For the good of the family. For the good of Whitaker. She wields Daniel's name like a blade, slicing through doubts before they can form. A few shareholders nod. Others glance at me with pity. I fold my hands on the table, calm, steady. And yet Daniel is not here, is he? Amber tilts her head, feigning regret. He wanted to be. But he trusts me. He trusts us. He doesn't need to be. Her confidence is suffocating, rehearsed. She believes I will falter, that I will crumble beneath her calm assurance. Then, at the far end of the hall, I see him. Noah. His small face appears at the window of the adjoining corridor. He shouldn't be here, but he is. His eyes meet mine, wide but steady. For a moment my heart steadies. Then he vanishes, pulled from sight. Where is he? I demand, my voice sharper than intended. Amber's smile never falters. He's outside. Let him play while we finish important business. You wouldn't want him to be bored, would you? The words are casual, but the implication cuts. She controls even his presence, even his safety. I open my mouth, but before I can speak, Paige moves. She bursts forward, her chair scraping against the polished floor. Don't sign. The words crack like thunder. Gasps ripple through the room. Cole stiffens. Amber's smile freezes, a hairline fracture spreading across its surface. Paige slams her notebook onto the table, her hands shaking. It's all wrong. The files. The papers. All of it. She fumbles, pulls a flash drive from her pocket, slides it across the table to me. Here. Proof. I couldn't. Her voice breaks. I couldn't keep doing it. Amber lunges, hand outstretched, but Marcus is faster. He steps between us, his broad frame blocking her. The flash drive remains in my hand. From the speakers in the corner, Marcus's hidden work, the room fills with sound. Amber's voice. Clear, cold, venomous. After she signs, she'll have nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing. And if Paige resists, if she betrays me, her child dies. Accidents happen. The words echo in the stunned silence. Shareholders shift, murmur, eyes widening. The carefully polished room becomes a court of judgment. Amber's mask cracks fully now. Her face twists, her composure bleeding away. This is manipulation. Lies. Fabricated. But Paige collapses into tears beside her, her voice shaking raw. They forced me. They said Sophia would die if I didn't help. I swear I didn't want to. I didn't. The room erupts. Voices clash, questions fire, papers rustle. Some shareholders push back their chairs, standing, demanding explanations. Others stare at me with something new. Respect, perhaps, or fear? I feel rage and pity not inside me but above all clarity. I rise slowly, letting the silence return. My voice is steady when I speak. Enough. The word cuts through the noise. Amber turns to me, eyes blazing, lips parted as though to retort. But there is nothing left to say. The room has heard her voice, her threats. The proof is here. I glance at Paige, who sits hunched, broken. For a moment pity stabs me. She is victim as much as accomplice. But pity does not erase responsibility. The shareholders exchange looks. The tide has turned. Amber's hand trembles as she reaches for the papers in front of her. But they are no longer P***NS. They are evidence. I push them aside. No more signatures, I say. No more lies. This ends tonight. The boardroom is chaos. Voices collide like waves against stone. Shareholders shouting over one another. Chairs scraping, papers scattering. Paige sits collapsed at the table, her notebook askew, tears staining the ink on her trembling hands. Amber stands rigid, her face pale but her eyes still sharp, calculating, searching for some way to claw back control. Then the doors burst open. Police flood the room, uniforms stark against the sleek corporate decor. Behind them, Helen, her hair wild from haste, her coat thrown over her shoulders. And beside her, Noah. His small frame clutches a phone, his eyes wide but steady. The room falls into a stunned hush. Amber is the first to break it. She points, her voice rising in a shrill scream. This is fake. Lies. You're all being manipulated. Her finger stabs toward me. She orchestrated this. She's the one destroying the family. But then Arthur Cole's silent, stoic Arthur rises. His face is drawn, his voice low. I can't hide this anymore. He pulls a folder from his briefcase and lays it on the table. The papers inside are old, yellowed, brittle with time. Medical records, he says quietly. From 10 years ago. Paige's baby was stillborn. She never left the hospital with a child. Paige's head jerks up, her eyes wide, mouth opening but no sound emerging. Her entire body shakes. Cole continues, his words heavy. That same day, another infant appeared. No record of parents, no paperwork filed. That child was registered as Sophia Nolan. The room gasps. Paige crumples back, clutching her chest. No, she whispers. No, she's mine. She's my daughter. But Cole's eyes are merciless. She is not. She never was. The child belongs to Amber. Amber and her lover. He swallows. A doctor. He arranged the switch. Amber screamed, tears through the silence. Stop. You don't know what you're talking about. But Noah steps forward. His small hand holds out the phone, the screen glowing. I saved the messages, he says, his voice trembling but clear. From Mom. From her number. He taps and the texts appear in the air like ghosts. If Paige won't sign, her child will die like the last one. Do what I say or Sophia disappears. Accidents happen. Don't forget that. The officer sees the phone, their faces grim. Paige lets out a sound like breaking glass. Her eyes dart wildly between me, Amber, and the papers. No, she sobs. No, this isn't true. She's mine. She's mine. Her voice shreds into a scream. You can't take her from me. But the weight of truth is a hammer. Cole's documents, Noah's phone, the forged clinic records, they all collapse into one undeniable verdict. Daniel bursts into the room then, his tie askew, his face flushed with confusion. He looks at the scene, the police, the papers, the tears, and stammers. What is happening? Amber turns to him instantly, her mask slipping into desperate sweetness. Daniel, listen to me. They're lying. Your mother, Paige, all of them, they've turned against me. But you know me. You trust me. Tell them. His eyes dart between her and the evidence. Amber. Tell them. She screams, her voice cracking, hysteria boiling to the surface. Tell them I did this for us. For our future. For you. Cole lays the records before him. Noah holds up the phone. Marcus plays another clip. Amber's own voice dripping with venom. After she signs, she'll have nothing. Betray me and your child dies. Daniel's face drains of color. He stares at Amber, his lips trembling. Is it true? For a heartbeat, Amber tries to hold his gaze, tries to summon the charm that once disarmed him so easily. But under the weight of the room, her mask shatters. Yes, she spits, her voice venom now. Yes, she's mine. And so what? I wanted what I deserved. I wanted money, power, control. All of this should have been mine from the start. Your mother is weak, Paige is pathetic, and you? She points at Daniel, her face twisted with contempt. You were too blind to see it. The words hang in the air like acid. The officers move swiftly. Handcuffs snap around her wrists. She thrashes, curses, spits, her voice rising to an animal howl. You'll regret this. All of you. You think this is the end, but you'll see. I'll destroy everything you love. The shareholders shrink back, their faces pale, their eyes wide. Paige sobs uncontrollably, rocking in her chair. Daniel stands frozen, as if the ground beneath him has dissolved. And I stand silent. There is no triumph in this moment. No victory, no vindication. Only truth, raw and merciless, tearing through the illusion that held us captive. Amber is dragged from the room, her voice echoing down the hall, sharp and jagged until the doors slam shut behind her. Silence settles. Heavy. Final. Paige lifts her head, her face streaked with tears. All these years, she whispers. My whole life. A lie. Her words are not for me, not even for Sophia. They are for herself. For the hollow years she lived believing in a child that was never hers by blood but became hers in love. The cruelty of it cuts deeper than any financial theft. Daniel finally speaks, his voice broken. Mom. He looks at me, his eyes filled with something between apology and despair. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I meet his gaze but say nothing. What words could answer? His silence, his blindness, his trust in Amber, all of it carved this path. The shareholders begin to file out, murmuring, shaken. The meeting is over, though no formal adjournment was ever declared. Only Marcus remains steady, gathering the papers, nodding once toward me. Proof secured. The war's outcome sealed. I stand in the emptying boardroom, the echoes of betrayal clinging to the polished walls. There is no victory here. Only ruin. Weeks blur together. Courtrooms replace boardrooms. Police reports replace meeting minutes. Instead of balance sheets, I now study indictments and depositions, my name printed across legal documents as both witness and victim. Amber's voice haunts every tape, every transcript. After she signs, she'll have nothing. Betray me and your child dies. The recordings are replayed until I can recite them by memory, until they sound less like threats and more like scripture of ruin. The prosecutors catalog them as evidence. The newspapers quote them in headlines. And Amber herself, once so polished, so radiant, sits in orange, her hair stripped of gloss, her face a mask of fury and denial. Fraud. Coercion. Conspiracy. Child endangerment. The charges pile until even the judge looks weary at the length of them. Amber pleads, bargains, lashes out. She claims she was protecting the family, then that she was framed, then finally that she doesn't regret a thing. Her lawyer fumbles, but the evidence is iron. The lover doctor is arrested, too. Under pressure, he confesses to forging the clinic records, to creating the phantom illness, to threatening Paige with words Amber whispered through him. His testimony is the final nail. There is no triumph in these victories. Only exhaustion. Paige's fate is more complicated. The court sees her not as architect but as pawn. She was coerced, manipulated, trapped beneath Amber's threats. No prison sentence is given, but guilt clings to her like a second skin. At every hearing she sits small in her chair, her hands clasped tightly, her lips trembling with unshed apologies. Noah and I visit her weeks after the sentencing. She lives in a modest apartment now, far from the gleaming halls where she once carried files like we *P****s. When she opens the door, her eyes are red, her hair unkempt, her smile fragile. And then a sound breaks through the silence. A little girl runs across the room. Wide eyes, quick steps, arms outstretched. She leaps into Paige's embrace with the ease of a child who knows no betrayal, no paperwork, no bloodlines. Just love. Sophia. Paige holds her tightly, as though she might vanish if her grip loosens. She looks at me, her voice breaking. You don't need to give birth to be a mother. For the first time I believe her. I help her secure legal custody. Documents signed not with deceit but with truth. Amber is cut off completely. The switch, the fraud, the threats, they have no power over Sophia now. The girl will grow under Paige's care. Not as a wee *p*n, but as a child finally free from the grip of lies. At Whitaker Holdings the air shifts. Shareholders treat me differently now. Not with pity, not with condescension, but with respect edged in caution. They saw what almost happened. They saw how close the company came to being gutted from within. Paige returns to work, her eyes clearer, her shoulders straighter. She carries her guilt openly, like a scar she refuses to hide. She works honestly, meticulously, as though each ledger she balances is another step toward redemption. And Daniel. He sits often with a notebook in hand, not scribbling figures but writing thoughts he doesn't share. Sometimes I catch him watching me, his gaze heavy with apology. He doesn't speak it. Not yet, maybe not ever. But it's there in the slope of his shoulders, in the silence he no longer fills with Amber's words. For now that is enough. Noah changes too. The boy who once pressed his trembling hand over my mouth now laughs again. His voice rings through the halls of the house, chasing away the shadow of threats. He still checks the windows sometimes, still glances over his shoulder on dark streets, but his smile returns quicker each time. He is sunlight again, fractured but bright. At night, when the house is quiet, I sit with a cup of tea and watch the flames in the fireplace. Healing is uneven. Some days feel almost normal, others collapse under the weight of what was done. But for the first time in years, choice feels real. Ours. No longer made with a knife at the throat. The storm passed, but it left ruins. And from those ruins we begin. Mercy is a difficult word. Paige deserves it, though she carried poison to my lips more than once. Daniel deserves it, though his blindness nearly cost me everything. Even Noah, who carried fear heavier than a child should, deserves mercy, for himself, for the shadows that will never fully leave him. As for Amber, mercy has no place there. Not after the forged files, the poison meals, the threats against children. Her name will remain bound to the words fraud and coercion. A cautionary tale written in cold ink. Choice is what remains. Paige chooses honesty. Daniel chooses to watch and learn instead of dismiss. I choose to rebuild. And Noah chooses to laugh again. That perhaps is victory enough. The seasons turn, and with them the shape of my life. The annual shareholder meeting is held in the same boardroom where Amber once staged her ambush. The table is the same, the walls unchanged, yet the air feels different, lighter if only slightly. The stain of betrayal lingers, but it no longer dictates the script. I stand at the head of the table, papers aligned in front of me. The shareholders watch in silence, waiting. My voice carries steady, unflinching. Family isn't blood. Family isn't marriage. Family is who shields you when the storm hits. Remember that when you choose who to trust. No murmurs this time. Only nods. They know. They saw. In the front row, Noah waves, a grin stretching across his face. Beside him sits Paige, shoulders squared, eyes no longer hollow. She works with precision now, her guilt transmuted into discipline. Daniel sits next to her, notebook in hand, gaze fixed on me. Not as Amber's echo, but as a son trying, perhaps too late, to understand what loyalty costs. At home the air has changed too. The walls still bear memories of whispered threats, but now they smell of cinnamon again, of roses from the garden. Laughter threads through the rooms, tentative but growing stronger. The house feels less like a battlefield, more like shelter. Scars remain. They always will. But scars are proof of survival. We fortify Whitaker Holdings with iron this time. Contracts checked twice, 3 times. Shareholder protections in place, succession outlined clearly. No room for sweet words to override cold ink. Daniel studies the ledgers beside me, slower than I once hoped, but willing at last to learn. Paige pays Sophia's school fees with her own hand. The child runs in the garden with Noah. 2 lives once bound to a lie, now free to simply exist. Their laughter drifts through open windows like a bomb. And I sit in quiet moments, tea cooling in my hands, asking myself what it cost. Years of work nearly stolen. Trust shattered. A son nearly lost to blindness. An assistant nearly destroyed by forged fear. I promised Noah I wouldn't sign. That promise saved everything. I think of Amber, her voice echoing still in court transcripts, her name tied forever to fraud and coercion. Some nights I almost pity her, But the feeling vanishes quickly. Mercy belongs elsewhere. And so I turn outward to you, the listener, the witness. How many times have you chosen silence for peace? How many times have you swallowed unease to keep harmony? How many times has someone smiled sweetly while moving the pen closer to your hand? When betrayal comes, and it always comes, it will not announce itself with knives. It will come with tea trays, with gentle concern, with the words, "It's just for the family." The question is simple. Will you stay silent for peace? Or will you speak to regain your voice? Stories are candles. This is mine, burned nearly to the end, flame flickering but unextinguished. If you're here reading, listening, I ask, from what city do you watch me rebuild? I promise Noah and myself this: the moment that inner voice whispers don't sign, that is the moment we begin saving everything that truly matters.